Alright, this video is going to be, this is Joseph on the John the Hut Dweller channel. This video is going to be about McMartin Preschool case. Well, I don't know about, it's little known. McMartin Preschool case went to trial, and it all kicked off with this lady who was a manic depressive, probably schizophrenic. This was in the 80s during the Satanic Panic. And I think the Satanic Panic probably ended with the West Memphis childhood murders in Robin Hood Hills, because after that people kind of backed off and saw the damage that they were doing. The charges of satanic ritual abuse caused more problems and hurt more people than the supposed satanic ritual abuse ever did. McMartin Preschool case, this lady suffering from depression and had her child mate had painful bowel movements or something like that. One of the stories I heard. So she went crazy, or she was already crazy, and got the police involved and said, "There, the McMartin people who ran a preschool, good people, just normal people, no criminal records, claim these people sexually molested the kids. The kids played this game called the preschool. Let me clarify: this was a daycare center. It wasn't connected with any school, but it's called the McMartin Preschool. So these kids played this game called Naked Movie Star or something. And, whatever, kids game, weird name. This led to people theorizing, oh, it was, there's tunnels under the school. These weird allegations, tunnels being under the school to transport kids to have sex with with people in Hollywood, and they showed kids. Did this guy abuse you? Is it this? Various people, some of them sex offenders and not. And one of them was pictured Chuck Norris, and the kid said, "Yeah, that guy." Basically proving that these kids were making it up. I mean, it was definitely not the kids' fault. They're indoctrinated about this by their parents. Absolutely nothing wrong happened there. And so some people, like Ted Gunderson, believes that this means, oh, it's true. Chuck Norris, come on. So the claim was is they had these underground tunnels that they would bring the kids in and out through. So the parents would drop them off. They'd go inside. They'd see everything's fine, but then they'd go into these secret tunnels underneath the school. Then fly them by helicopter to somewhere in the mountains of California, and then where all these celebrities would have all this sex with minors and little kids and young boys, and then fly them back in time for the parents to pick them up. Now, yeah, this sounds nutty, because it is, but the fallout from it was innocent people being put in jail for years, and the horrible stress it put on people, bankrupting just regular Americans, and Virginia McMartin, who I believe died in jail. This is really disgusting stuff. This Ted Gunderson character, who is former head of the FBI, this should tell you that our government agencies are run by idiots. And they were back in the 70s and 80s. This guy retired in 1979, head of the Los Angeles FBI. He had, I guess, worked on the McDonald case, and if you know anything about that, this guy, this Green Beret doctor, had a wife and kids. He just hated the life of that he had all tied down. He wasn't, the swinger anymore. It's a common feeling among people, new parents. Well, what did he do? He murdered his wife and children, and got he inflicted some superficial wounds on him, knocked over a table, but very gently, because he organized the magazines after he tipped them over because he didn't like it. He's such a psychopath. As soon as the investigators got there, they said, there's no breaking. He said, oh, there's hippies that, this and that. These hippie Satan worshippers saying, kill the pigs, And it's kind of funny because he read this magazine article that had this information about it, about the Manson murders, and it was incorrect information. But he added it in to, oh, that's what they did too. And then we find out later, oh, wait, that actually didn't happen in the Manson case. So why, it kind of shows, oh, he fabricated the thing after reading about these Manson case, and then tried to stage a crime scene, like somebody else murdered his wife and kids. No, he did it. This Green Beret claimed that these drugged up hippies broke into his house, but he couldn't fight them off. He only had some superficial wounds. Let me tell you, if Green Beret meets hippies, they're gonna die. But Green Beret would kill them. And then later on, this insane schizophrenic woman comes along and says, "Oh, I was part of that." She wound up dying in 80, 81. I don't even remember the causes. So Ted Gunderson tried to defend, come to the defense of this evil guy, and then he takes the cases. He takes the burden of these McMartin parents, or parent of to try to go to their defense. So you have people murdered and it blamed on Satanists. You have people's lives destroyed because of one manic depressive woman. And then we get to West Memphis. And Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Misskelley are all in jail for the rest of their lives. And Damien Echols is on death row. It's kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't make up for anything else that has happened before, but the latest I've heard, in October of this year, Damien Echols is going to get a retrial. I don't know about the other two, but this idea of it's caused by Satan worshippers. If you actually look at the Satanic Bible, animals and children are held in high regard. They're held as the most virtuous creatures because they're true to their own nature. If they want to cry, they cry. If they want to eat, they eat. If they want to poo, it's unrestrained. And if you read the Satanic Bible, it has nothing to do with, abuse of children or drinking blood or any crap like that. Anton LaVey kind of wrote it for fun. His organization was largely atheistic. Those who actually believed in a devil and wanted to worship a devil. Because in LaVeyan Satanism, you don't worship anything. You stick to yourself. It's almost self-worship, but I don't think you can go that far. So the group that claimed to, be in contact with demons and stuff, they broke off and became the Temple of Set after their leader, Michael Quino, claimed he had an encounter with some demonic spirit or something like that. And they claimed to be Satanism all grown up, so that's the Temple of Set. To this day, LaVeyan Satanism, they stopped doing all their, type of rituals and stuff like that, walking around in the robes, chanting and, they'll do it sometimes, but they found that it just attracted the wrong type of people. Satanists are objectivists, basically. It's Ayn Rand's objectivism with some ritual in there and more embellishment. But the fallout from satanic ritual abuse leaves a lot of victims, and none of them are the victims of the Satanists. They're all victims of the wicked, the people who view themselves as righteous to fight the Satanists even though they're not there. So when they can't fight Satanists, they get innocent people. This is just like the Salem witch trials, or any witch trials. There were no witches. There never were. Nobody was practicing witchcraft. They trumped up stuff because they needed to find people who did something wrong. Same thing with the Templars. The Templars, they were tortured until they gave these false, wild confessions of homosexuality, worshiping the head of John the Baptist, worshiping a botched form of the name Muhammad, Baphomet, and even when they were dying, they were calling out to God, God, forgive me for lying, for giving false confessions. The Knights Templar were completely Roman Catholic Christian. They just wielded too much power and posed a threat to the King of France. But this isn't a sexy, mystical idea, so people don't want the truth. People want to believe that people were actually practicing witchcraft, and they were, the Templars were some secret, weird society, and maybe they were Gnostic, or maybe they found some, relics of Christ. I mean, totally unsubstantiated. But the truth is not as really as interesting, and it really shows a dark side of humanity. But if you say, oh, they did, oh, then it's a fight between two different powers, and no, these were people who were sorted out. I mean, it's just like the same thing happened in the Maoist revolution. They say you're a capitalist spy, and it's some peasants. So they have their family condemn them, and they get put to death. And what do we find out? The family members say, I was so scared. I feel so ashamed that I said that about my family, because they weren't. They're just nice people, but if I would have stood up, I would have been killed too. But I'm sure 100 years down the line, somebody's going to be like, oh, wow, the CIA really infiltrated, the backwoods of China, these rice farms. I mean, it's somebody with a sick mind that needs to make the powerless victims. They need to give them some power, so it's not just blatant abuse. It's like if somebody abuses their child and says, oh, they were possessed by the devil. Oh, maybe they were possessed by it. No, you shit on the graves of the victims when you do this. So it's a horrible thing, the McMartin PreSchool. It's a horrible thing, McDonald murders. It's a horrible thing, the prosecution of the West Memphis Three. And people who claim to be Christian that stand up for these things and try to say, oh, but it really happened. No, you just tarnish the image of the church, and you're just another fanatic.